We're 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Last week, I can't remember what day it was, but last week, one day, the talk of the whole town happened right outside our office here.
Yes, it did.
We broadcast from the mall, for those who don't know, and 2 doghouses were put up.
Mm-hmm.
And those 2 doghouses have air conditioning.
Yeah, it was
and they're
great.
self-sanitizing, and they have cameras in them so that you can look at your dog when your dog is waiting in there while you're shopping in the mall.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that a cool idea?
Very cool.
We see a lot of dogs walking past this window going into the mall. Some of them are in baby carriages.
Yeah.
Some of them are being carried, and once in a while, some of them are being walked. And I guess it's not unusual when you consider like service dogs, right? Like a seeing eye dog, that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in today's world, we have what you call service dogs and then what we call therapy dogs. And they're amazing. Some of them are specially trained to be able to tell when a person is having an epileptic seizure. And there's just all kinds of things. And of course, you know about the drug dogs. And it's an amazing thing to think of what dogs can do. Joe Schrank is going to talk to us about therapy dogs helping drug rehab patients stay clean. Oh, this is going to be good. Joe is a journalist, a clinical social worker, a survivor of addiction and mental health. He's an activist for harm reduction, and he's the president and founder of Remedy Recovery, which is a San Francisco, California-based treatment program for substance abuse and co-occurring disorders. Joe, it's an honor to have you on our show. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Where are you? Are you in San Francisco?
I am, yeah. I'm in San Francisco. All
right. Before we get to the subject, you got a lot of parrots. There was 2 stories this morning that said there are parrots all over San Francisco. What's going on?
You know, San Francisco is one of those cities. We're all based in acceptance, so we welcome everything, even parrots, I guess.
Yeah. I wish we had parrots. And we live in Florida. There should be parrots.
Yeah, you'd think. It seems a little chilly here for parrots.
Have you seen them, or is it just a news thing?
I've not seen them, no.
Oh, okay.
But, but who knows? I don't know. There could be parrots everywhere for all I know.
Yeah, they're flying around in flocks. Well, I just love that.
And I promise we'll get to the real subject. But in Miami, there was all these. We don't live in Miami. But there were all these stories about these gigantic iguanas, and I'm thinking, come on, how bad could it be? And when I went down there, sure enough, there are iguanas everywhere. Yeah. So it's
really,
yeah.
I mean, you would think that parrots would prefer Miami,
right?
To San Francisco.
I know,
but I don't know.
They're probably jealous of the flamingos here.
When I was a kid, there was a parrot at Busch Gardens, and in fact, that's all Busch Gardens was a parrot. And I remember the guy saying to the audience, "This parrot can bite a broomstick in half." And then the whole time, while all the adults are getting free beer, all of us kids are waiting to see this parrot bite a broomstick, and he never did.
Right, but it could.
It could.
Really, that was the hook that it could.
So tell me about the therapy dogs. Do you have a therapy dog?
We do. We have a therapy dog. In fact, I'm looking at the therapy dog right now. She actually has a dual purpose. She's a narcotics detection canine. So she went through all the training to do that, and she actually does very well with that. She's a very strong drive to find, every dog is different. They're like people. Some of them, have a work ethic. Some of them don't. This dog definitely does. She was the runt of the litter, so she doesn't really look like a police dog. So that's why they're having trouble placing her from the training facility, and that's how we ended up with her. But she's also incredibly sweet, and she's very helpful to people who come to us for help, whether they're struggling with addictions or other mental health issues, or both. Oftentimes we forget that people fall into the trap of addiction for reasons. It's not just necessarily that they like it, but they have, we start to uncover secondary mental health issues as we kind of move through the process. But the thing that's great about dogs is that she's totally accepting of all people without judgment.
Is that Cassie?
That's
Cassie.
Exactly. Yeah, that's her name. Yeah.
So I remember as a kid watching a cartoon, and somebody was tempted, and there was an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. Is Cassie the angel on your shoulder telling you, no, don't do that?
Well, I think that she works in a bunch of different ways. And one of the ways is, we're a medication-assisted program. And I think what's one of the things, and that means, and if I don't need to give a grad school lecture here, but our best hope to help the opiate crisis is with medication assistance. We know that. And one of the medications that we use here is cannabis, which people find unusual for a recovery program. But it's actually very helpful for detox. There's a bunch of different things. Medication-assisted programming is only as effective as compliance with the protocol.
I'm sure, yeah.
So if people are misusing medications or abusing medications or not taking medications, so we really need to keep this environment safe and on point. So Cassie definitely helps us do that. People can't really bring anything in here that they shouldn't. All the medication protocols are overseen by a medical doctor or nurse practitioner. So that's how she is helpful in that regard is, I think that I think people think twice, right? If they, maybe they're having that sort of, angel devil moment and they think, well, the dog is there, so I'll just skip trying to bring in anything that I shouldn't.
And is the dog a substitute for a human? They couldn't, your best friend tell you, hey, don't do that, or is it more effective when it's somebody you care about? Like Robin has the picture of Cassie, and I'm looking at the picture. She's really, really a sweet looking dog.
She's a very sweet dog. I don't think there's any substitute for human connection. We all need peers. We all need, humans are herd animals. We all need our tribe and our, people that we're connected with. But I do think that it's an additional layer for sure of help. And I also think that there are people who come in with mental health issues or substance issues who are very shut down, and, maybe it's a starting point. Well, let's pet the dog. Let's start there. Let's keep on your road back to recovery.
Yeah.
And the dog isn't, it's a great thing. The dog is never angry with them. Lots of people with substance issues everybody's mad at them. The community is mad at them and wants them in jail. Yeah. Their families are mad. Their spouses are mad, and maybe rightfully so. Is a different question, but we all need the empathy, and the dog is a great sort of midwife of that emotion. I don't think there's nothing empirical. We can't say dogs cure or addiction. We can't say that. But anecdotally, we know that this dog is tremendously helpful to our community and to our individual clients.
Well, for you yourself, sir, you realize that you needed help, but we feel that sometimes people are in denial and they don't need help. How did you overcome that denial and seek help? Because you could have gone in the opposite direction and went off the deep end.
Well, anybody could. I think that denial is a tricky thing. We say that all the time, the person has to reach the bottom or they have to realize it. I'm not sure that that's totally true. I think one of our missions here at Remedy Recovery is to meet people where they are. If people are in denial and there's like, well, I don't really have a problem, and even if the whole system around them, even if everybody disagrees, right, there's still a starting point. For myself personally, I was a very young guy. I was not gaining any traction in life. I was tired of people telling me how smart I was and what an underachiever I was. And it was just sort of, okay, I'll try, maybe this non-drinking thing. And really, it was more like, I'm going to show all you that drinking is not my problem. And as it turned out, it was. It was really sort of a reconnaissance mission of, okay, I'll stop for a while. And, and it's hard. I think that people really discover why they drink or use other drugs when they stop. Oh, wow, this is why I drank. Okay. And so it's really much more of a process than a decision or seeing the light. We have those ideas that recovery is some kind of light switch moment and people learn their lesson. Typically speaking, people with addictions and mental health issues are bright people. We can see that they are iconoclastic and achieving. Prince. I mean, just off the top of my head, there's lots of very creative and very smart people. It isn't that they don't understand that drug use is risky. That's not the issue. So it's more of a process. I think we need to start thinking of addiction as a chronic health problem that needs management rather than a decision or something with an end game. Even this young girl, Demi Lovato, right? She's a young girl. The idea that she's going to have some kind of perfection, she's like 23 years old or something. The idea that she's going to have perfected recovery for the rest of her life is not really realistic. She's going to have setbacks. We all do. That's just life. That's not anything specific to people in recovery.
The idea of a therapy dog helping out, I'm going to compare it to a musical instrument. If I don't even know if this will work, but if I have a guitar in the room and I have 5 different people who play guitar, then they all play it. It's all going to sound different, but it's the same instrument. Does the same thing with the dog? Like, would the dog be different? The dog you have, Cassie, would the dog be different with somebody else? Does the dog sort of learn you just as you have to learn the dog?
Well, I think so. I think that animals in general are incredibly intuitive, and I think that the dog picks up on our emotions, for sure. I think, and maybe I'm crazy. I don't know, but I think that she's kind of more attentive to people who are more fractured. Just as
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean that she's sort of, this person is really needs me, and it's kind of it's a little egotistical.